Hello, hello, hello. We are back. We are back talking all things Melbourne Survivor, playing with fire. Before we do, I want to monologue a little bit, so bear with me. A couple of things I want to address. Speaking on behalf of the three of us, we are loving doing the podcast and feeling so lucky that we have so many people who tune in every week. The tricky thing is doing this podcast live and sometimes interviewing our guests. We do run into tricky or touchy subjects that can take us aback. And we may not get to address in the moment, whether it's because we're in shock or it's because something we want to handle with care and respond appropriately. Every person who comes on the pod has a right to their feelings, their emotions, and individual experiences, as does anyone in real life, and we give them the platform to express that. Having said that, there's a couple of times where I've finished up the pod and thought about things that have been said that haven't necessarily sat right with me. Last week in particular, when we had Rosie, she was great. She came on with so much energy and ideas about life and Survivor. Super interesting to listen to. I've never met anyone quite like Rosie before, which is the feedback I get from a lot of people who know Rosie in real life. Now, we got into the nitty-gritty with her and we asked her what person she wanted to see voted out. Like, she could pick anyone. Who did she want to go? And then she said CK, which again, not a huge shock to any of us because, in the game, I think he's on everyone's hit list at the moment. And then when we pressed her about why, she had some less than favorable things to say about him that weren't necessarily in a game aspect, that I didn't necessarily felt represented him accurately. That's not my understanding of who CK is as a person from my experience with him. Look, there is no doubt in Survivor or in real life or even in the LRGs that there are going to be personality clashes and people who don't get along. That's inevitable. We all have that. But for me, taking anything that you're given within a game aspect and applying it to people outside of the game without any further exploration or experience of that person will never give anybody else a true or whole understanding of who they are. So I just want to address that. It didn't necessarily sit well with me. And I want to hear about your game experiences. Give us the dirt. We love it. We want to chat about it, but I want to hear, I want to hear about a game perspective because everyone is different in and outside of the game, even though it can be a real indicator of who they are in real life. It can also be completely different because I know who I am in and out of game. Are similar, but definitely not the same type of person. And you guys will have that experience too. So I just want to address that before we got into it and having some fun. So yeah, that's my little spiel for last week. Scott said some touchy things that we won't get into as well, but we do hear you, we do hear it, but this is a platform for everyone to say what they need to say, and we'll address things as and when we need to, but for the most part, I'm really, really loving doing this with you. So thank you so much for having us. And before we do actually dive into Melbourne, I'm so excited to announce that obviously Sydney Survivor cast is out, and you will see Ethan and myself. It comes out this Sunday. We are airing twice a week, Sundays and Wednesdays at 7:30. And we're so excited that you guys get to see us in action the way that we're seeing you in action. So we're so excited that we can finally, not that it was super secret because people knew, but it's official and we're out. So yay!
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I've heard you guys talk about this. You have both been very tight-lipped. You won't tell me anything. It's very rude. So I'm so excited to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait for everyone to watch it. Also, just quickly before we get into Melbourne, if anyone's watching who wants to play,
Yes.
Brisbane and Canberra have applications open right now. It would be a great opportunity. I think all three of us have had great experiences, so we highly encourage you to apply if you want to. And Sydney are taking interest forms at the moment. So not casting right now, but you can also put your interest forward for that. But otherwise, let's get into Melbourne Survivor.
All right. What did we think about this episode as a whole?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at Brady saying I can get my revenge later. Yeah. Because I will be having my hot takes again to discuss you two.
Yes. So Jules and CK are going to be hosting the podcast to recap Sydney, which is you're going to have so much of Jules on your
So
screen.
we're talking about you two with CK, talking to CK about you two. it's
and then Ethan and I get to be real live typers and comment shit to you.
Oh, 100%. Oh, I'm going to be so active. It's not funny.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyway,
this
that's
episode,
next week. Let's talk about this episode.
What did we think of it?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought a lot of the confessionals were well done. Again, sort of following on from last week. Still really sad. In some parts, Ma was hurting. As we can see. Yeah. But otherwise, like, I did enjoy the episode, and I was happy with the challenge, and I was glad to see that the players really got to experience some discomfort within Survivor. Like, that's a real life experience.
An evil thing to say.
I know, but it's great.
I'm glad they suffered.
I applied wanting to suffer, within challenges. Like,
also,
let me eat something disgusting, or let me do something really tough.
This is the last challenge of the day. It's like pissing down rain. It's freezing, and they have to sleep in that. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's shit.
Did anyone get frostbite? That's what I want to
know. All right, before we get there, we open with Laurel talking about the most recent boot. Obviously that she felt bad. We get really sweet comments from Caitlin and Ma. Again, there's some beautiful comments about Rosie. And that, Ma's on the bottom. She feels on the bottom, especially if they lose another challenge. She's praying for the merge. She considers herself to be a lucky person. And
I loved this whole little thing of
I know.
I'm generally a lucky person. And then she said, I wrote down, can't rely on my charm or good looks. I have to rely on my luck.
Yeah, she thinks her luck is going to pull through, which is super sweet. I love that positivity, energy that we all know and love from Mars. So for her, even just to keep the slightest semblance of it, I love that. I was just like, yes, girl, go.
Yeah. It was that at that point. That's all she had left was luck. She needed to win the challenge.
She knew she was done otherwise. So
spitting duck. So a pretty rough time, but So we see a bit of Laurel, Ma, and Caitlin in that first little bit.
Caitlin doesn't like to lose. I love this quote. When I think of me, I don't think of losing. I love her energy. Like she's she's
someone that always has such positive things to say about herself.
Yes,
and it doesn't come across as arrogant at all.
No, it's not arrogant. It's just like, yes.
Yeah.
Look, I'm great. And that's just how that is.
It's what's it like to have that kind of self-confidence? I wouldn't know.
Me either. She's just, she's so confident because she's in the majority,
it helps. Well. She's not scrambling at this point.
Yeah. No. She's just sitting there smiling at every confessional, and the person behind the camera is having a good laugh. And then, you cut to Ma, basically crying, and the person filming is basically crying, or that's how I picture it in my head. It's like,
absolutely.
You're with Ma, she's crying, and then you're with Caitlin, and life is great, even though you're losing. Same with John. So, absolutely loving that.
Yeah, and then we get a great confessional from Laurel. She now feels freer to be chaotic, which I thought was hilarious.
It's already pretty chaotic.
Yeah. She wants merge to happen so she can walk in with those bros and those honey buns. And just,
I love that.
and just argue with them about what's happened, which I just was just like, okay, we weren't already chaotic. We're going to get even more chaotic. I thought that was fantastic.
I love that. Yeah. Absolutely. You just come in, you're like, I'm gonna play chaotic. I'm already doing it. And it does suck. I'm not sure if this was later. Ross says, it's actually pretty hard forming these close bonds and then voting the people who you'd like out of the game. But she's sticking with it anyway. She's like, yep, chaos, arguing. I'm here for all of it. Let's do it. Bring it on. And it's it's so
that's towards the end. It's a bit that's again a chalk and cheese. She's like, I feel bad, but I'm still going to do it. I loved it. It was great, but we'll get there. That's at the end.
You're going to be upset anytime anyone goes. In this episode, I'm so I'm upset that Mar's going, but if an idol gets played somehow, then Laurel goes, who I love. Like, this is such a good cast. Like, I'm never not going to be disappointed when someone goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, and then we flick over to yellow, and we start with a confessional from Tash, filling at the bottom of her 3, courtesy of CK. He seems to be running the show, and he's had chats with the others, both Kate and Dale, but not her.
And he's openly said to Kate, "Oh yeah, so we're running out Tash, yeah."
Yeah. So yeah,
It's
Kate,
like, no.
Yeah, we hear Kate tell Tash that CK says she should be the one to go, and Kate disagrees with a fact who thinks it should be Dale, if any one of the 3.
Well, they both have idols, so it's probably going to go that way anyway if they were to go to a tribal.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what I was going to say, but I was just nodding my head and verbally agreeing.
This one out. We get confessional from CK with the alliance pivoting because
he's done with the other guys. Screw those guys.
Those people that voted out Annabelle. He's already, I love his future thinking. He's bracing for Laurel's return by telling Brady and Chloe that it was actually Laurel that wanted to get them out. It was not him skimming with Annabelle to get them out.
He's like, yeah, Brady doesn't believe me.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't think he believes him, but he's putting that out there to cause seeds of doubt, which I thought was a little genius there. But then we see that Chloe wants CK gone, and her and Brady have a very strong alliance.
Yeah.
And they're thinking about working with Tash and Kate.
Yeah. So we see Brady back up Tash's paranoia about her being on the bottom, and that he thinks they'll have the numbers to go against CK should they lose a challenge. But we also get a confessional here from Chloe where she's wondering whether she should make an all-girl alliance with Brady and Dale. But she likes the 2 other girls. She's wondering, do I flip over there and I know Brady will come with me.
Yeah. What I really like about this part and what we get to see is the fact that not only do we get to see Chloe playing her own independent game away from Brady, it adds another element into the game. Like, what is she going to do? Now we see her options. She's thinking strategically. And also just before that, we see, even though CK's playing a really aggressive verbal game where he's going around telling people that he wants to tell about what's happening, just you do that. So it's good to see that even though those people haven't gone to tribal, we're still getting to see what game they are playing.
They have so much time at this point to you know, they've that's all they've had time to do is strategize. So it's nice, you don't have to see it to verbalize, you know, and what their future plans and whether that comes to fruition when we get down the track. But at this point, Red are just scrambling because they've had no time, and Yellow are just sitting pretty, being like, "Oh, I wonder what plan I could come up with. Let me just think 3 moves ahead."
At this point, they've had 20 different plans just because they've got nothing but time to decide who they're going to vote out.
Yeah, exactly.
I think when we do see those 4 that haven't gone to tribal yet, when we do see them go to a tribal, I think it's going to be chaos because it's just they haven't had a chance to do anything yet. They're probably just dying to play.
Oh yeah, it's just it'll be like verbal diarrhea. I didn't want to say. And then we get a quick little confessional from Dale. He just wants to win and enter the merge with numbers.
Yeah,
there's not much more to his strategy at that point.
There's not a lot going for Dale.
He doesn't want to lose.
I mean,
he wants to enter the merge with numbers.
He's a simple man with simple desires. That's
Yeah, I would have liked to see him though, I would have liked to see where he was thinking of sitting at this point in time, because he's kind of a middleman. Because we know that CK is trying to pull him on board with the boys. We know that the girls consider, while Dale is part of their alliance, he is at the bottom of it. But there's both parties consider him part of the alliance. Yes. So I'm curious as to where he thinks he sits, or who he thinks he would play with come merge. I would have liked to see that. And
we haven't really heard. We don't know where he's
sits. We haven't seen Dale.
Yeah, since he's moved over to Yellow, we haven't heard a lot about where he sits and who he sits with.
Yeah, so make it interesting going into merge. What happens with Dale? Who does he go with? I feel like he's going to have a lot of options.
So I think Dale's can be pivotal come merge, because he just kind of seems like a free agent currently.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see him being
which is not something I thought I would say at the start of the season, because I didn't rank Dale at all at the start. So I just see him sitting. Well, we don't know what he's thinking. Going into merge, he has options.
Yeah, he's in a great spot. The fact that he hasn't gone to tribal, so yeah, good on him.
Best thing the swap was probably best for him out of everybody, because he was sitting on a swinking red tribe, and then
he was going to be next. Like
100%. Yeah, best thing happened for Dale is a swap.
He's been one tribal away from being voted out since like the third tribal. So
absolutely. Well, his name came up at every tribal. Is it?
Yeah,
he only went to 2, but yeah.
The first like 2 he was at, his name came up.
Yeah, and then it seemed like if Yellow went
again,
if they went to tribal, then he'd be going home.
For sure.
Yeah, so I'm excited for merge, but let's get into. I believe it's the challenge.
Yes,
the challenge in the pouring rain and the dark.
So, hot tip before we get into it, as I've been, the little birdie told me, they actually started this challenge blindfolded on their knees, and each tribe had a caller telling them what to do with each.
Oh, okay.
Thing.
Right.
But they let them stand up and take off their blindfolds because it was taking too long.
Yeah.
So, the footage we see is the back half of the challenge.
Right.
They actually started blindfolded on their knees.
Okay. Wow, that sounds awful considering that the challenge.
Okay, so
there you go, CK.
Yeah. I knew Ma was a caller, and though CK was the caller for the other.
Wow. Yeah, I did not. We obviously did not know that. I can imagine like we get to see how difficult the challenge was after the blindfolds. So I can imagine how difficult it was. You got one person trying to figure out this complex puzzle with other 3 other people who are blindfolded.
Cannot see.
Yeah.
And like just have rain falling on their heads. Like that'd be awful. It was awful enough what we saw.
John is saying Ma solved the puzzle twice but couldn't see because of the fluorescent paint. What? Oh my god.
Yeah, so that's like I was like the lights they had against the fluorescent paint would have made it so hard to see the actual
You needed
colors.
to just have someone stand back with the light.
Yeah. CK said it was so much easier to see the colors on the TV. Yeah. And even now I felt it was hard. And going back, Vince said they actually had to find the boxes. They could start.
So they were like scattered around the area. They had
Suddenly
to find
I'm understanding why it took nearly an hour.
And
come on, guys, how many different combinations can you have?
One of the crew thought the season was going to be abandoned. He was ready to pack it in.
Oh, and it's raining the entire time.
That is loser talk. The Survivor.
Yeah. So I can't be out here more than half an hour in the rain, guys. So half an hour in the rain, and then I'm going home. So get it done quick. So if it takes 5 hours, you're out there for 5 hours. Simple as that.
Yeah, and then we get this hilarious footage of JP asking Liz what will happen if they can't figure out the challenge. They stay on that, yeah?
Yeah.
I love like Liz comes along, someone's got an umbrella, and she's like, I feel like I'm on Survivor, and the little like Liz.
Loves cats, yeah.
She felt like she was on Survivor until she got the umbrella.
And then we get the countdown. We get 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 55 minutes. The longest challenge that they ever had in Melbourne Survivor to that date.
And
then finally someone on yellow goes, how about we actually count the colors? 55 minutes to work that out. Come on, guys.
At least half an hour into it, I'm going, all right, how many yellows are there?
CK claims credit.
I think I heard like 10 minutes before that Tash said something about there's something to do with doubles.
Yeah.
Right.
But yes, well done, CK. You can have the credit.
Well, you figured it out.
The credit, clearly.
You did win. You did win. It only took 55 minutes for someone to come up with that question. But nonetheless, you did do it. So
so yellow win
that was
again.
A miserable
they
challenge.
Are now undefeated.
Don't count
undefeated
doubles.
Streak, which is just crazy.
It's been close. Yeah.
So what? CK, Brady, and Chloe never been to tribal council, and Max never been to tribal council.
Yeah, that is actually crazy going into a
The
merge.
first time they go to tribal council is to watch another tribe.
Right.
Yeah, the first time they'll be voting will be at merge. Like Michelle Fitzgerald, just saying.
Who are you calling Michelle Fitzgerald? Who are you comparing?
I don't know, one of those four.
Who's Michelle Fitzgerald?
Maybe Chloe.
Yeah, Chloe of 3. Oh, Brady's got a little bit of that.
Yeah, meanwhile,
not CK.
John and Caitlin will be the 6 tribals.
Wow. Yeah, if either of them make it to the end, they'll have like the Denise story. Like,
absolutely. Let's see. Oh, Snyder, you competed on a live reality game. All right, look forward to hearing about that. All right, okay.
Chloe wants to know what I said about her. I said you could Michelle Fitzgerald this.
No bitch council, and then you can win.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm saying you potentially won. Well done, Chloe.
from being like my first boot.
I think my second boot. None of us had you making merge, and now
none of us had you making merge. So well done.
Yeah, and now we see you getting to the end. So, like, congrats to you. So, I mean, I guess we'll see, but yeah.
Well done for surpassing our expectations of you for all we knew.
To a tribal.
All right, so Yellow wins. Brady thinks that was the most stressful challenge ever, and that's where we get our episode title from. Stress.
Too much for Brady.
First one for Brady?
Yeah, so we had 2 from Annabelle, 2 from Caitlin, 1 from Rosie, and now 1 from Brady.
All right.
Okay.
The boys are getting a look in. Okay.
Finally.
They're so hard done by. CK is very happy with his undefeated streak. We get a back and forth confessionals from Brady and CK here, talking about how they saw Ma, who was super upset, who let them know that she was crying because she told them that she was the next to go, which would have made my heart be like, oh, my alliance member on the other side like crying because I knew they were next to go. They would hurt. We see Brady tee up best use of idols. Like, how can we make that work in our favor?
Yeah, really smart as well. Brady, from what we've seen confessional wise, Brady is playing, I think, the best strategical game. We've seen a lot of CK's strategy, but people aren't liking the fact that they're sort of being told what to do. Whereas Brady's not going around telling people what to do. He's just thinking about what he should do.
And all his ideas are great.
Yeah.
Very analytical, very under the radar. His social game is clearly strong.
Yeah.
He's in a great spot.
Vince wants to know, would any of you throw a challenge to save Ma?
No, not throwing a challenge. Ma's getting fed to the crocodiles.
It very much depends on the situation, but potentially, if she's someone that you were working with, CK, nah. Well, CK, you had the option and you clearly didn't. So moving on. But I think if it's someone that you were really close with and you know they're done, then yes, you would consider it. But then also you run the risk of
then you
could
put
go yourself. Like it's
I think at that point in time when I know there's 4 over there, like we're that close to merge and putting myself at risk that late in the game, I just couldn't do it. I would be fending for myself at that point in my eyes. Like I'm like, well, at that point they're down to 11. The only way, so at this point in time, I am trying to get information to her about idols. I'm trying to try to push that Kate narrative. Please save my friends. I'm trying to get her knowledge about the fucking rock idol. Something. I'm trying to get my way in so that she can save herself. As opposed to putting myself.
Liz has made an interesting comment. Sorry to cut you off. She would throw the challenge just because it's terrible for the resume to have never been a tribal pre-merge. What do we think of that?
Why is that terrible?
I agree.
Why is it terrible to never have been to tribal pre-merge when I was in a dominant?
And if you're at final tribal, are you talking about your pre-merge game? Really? For me, the way I see it, pre-merge is just a way to get you to merge in a good position. That's all it really is. It's no one is there at final final tribal being like, this is all the stuff I did pre-merge. It's like,
I agree with that. Pre-merge is largely irrelevant. Like,
it's about getting you there.
I'm going to address it at Final Tribal Council, being like, at the start of the game, I was in a great position. I maintained power within my tribe, and we won everything. And I take that, like, I credit that to myself. You know, like, obviously, you within the team be like, I was part of a dominant alliance. I was part of a dominant tribe, and we wiped out everybody on the other side because we continued to win. Now, and then obviously, then you claim whatever moves you've made post-merge.
Yeah.
Because then you've obviously done enough within that game to get yourself there.
Because if you've been losing and then you come into merge, like John and Caitlin are coming into merge, having been to all these tribals, but they're not going to have a whole lot of numbers, potentially.
Yeah.
Maybe they are.
Absolutely. And Liz said, it depends if you do anything pre-merge. If you're on the final tribal council, the only things I'm mentioning are the things that help me get someone's vote. I'm not mentioning not doing anything. You only want things that build up your resume, not something that tears it down or that's neutral. So if you played an idol for someone or if you blindsided someone, great. Put that on the resume, stick it in the final tribal council speech, put it in there. But I agree with what you guys are saying. Pre-merge, you just want to put yourself in a good position to be in a good spot going into merge.
Yeah. Look, I agree with Adam, but like it does prevent you from establishing trust. Like not establishing trust, from proving trust, because you can establish trust with people, like the way you feel about them, and you've been talking about it for so long, like about what the potential options are you moving forward, and never having been to trouble, you have more time with each other. Like so, you get to like each other as people. Like you have more time to develop a bond because you're not having to go to tribal. But yeah, you're right. They haven't established trust, but that doesn't necessarily hinder it's not going to be a downfall of my game that I hadn't established trust. Okay. I was in a dominant alliance, and then if I'm at final tribal, I fucking obviously done something to get there. You know what I mean?
I think the only time you're really going to talk about pre-merge at final tribal is if you're with someone that you guys have voted the same way every time from the merge onwards, and you need to maybe separate yourself from them. If you're going to maybe discuss that, but for the most part, I think final tribal people are talking about the post-merge game because that's who the jury has seen the entire game of. They all know exactly what happened.
Like a pre-merge, you want to go into merge with the numbers. Like I'm sorry that's what go back to my point. Like, and so here Vince said it too. Like, if we're down to this point, we've got 11, and I'm on a tribe with the majority. I'm not sabotaging. I'm not sabotaging a challenge.
Yeah,
I'm not to potentially put myself up to be taken out at that point in time, because we haven't. And going back to Adam's point, we haven't proven trust.
Yeah. So
I'm not doing that now. I'll do that come merge. You know what I mean? When I have a little bit more room to maneuver.
And that's what's going to make merge so interesting as well, is that 4 out of the 10 people haven't gone to tribal, so there's a lot of inexperience and not having proven that trust. You don't really know where alliances stand on the current yellow tribe because they haven't had to test it. So that's why it's going to be really exciting.
So much fun. Yeah,
but we talk about voting, establishing trust. Chloe and Brady, they're a tight pair. They really trust each other, and they haven't voted. And I think that just goes to show what else is involved in creating that trust and alliance. I think Chloe said it way back in the chat. I can't find it, but she said something about her and Brady. Their conversations were always very mutually respectful, very and that's why they were so close. Like they clearly showed that they wanted to work together. They respected each other, and they've got amazing trust without voting.
Yeah,
and CK saying him and Max were close as well.
Yeah,
well, that's a pair. Like that's like I see like those two like against each other.
Yeah,
and then the other guys come in and kind of got to fit around them is the way I see that.
If you're not going to tribal, you want to be making strong relationships, not just alliances. Alliances are important, as we pointed out. Max and CK and Chloe and Brady, for the 2 pairs, are really obvious within the yellow tribe right now. But you want to build connections with people like Chloe's doing. She's saying, look, I'm enjoying the girls. I think I could go with them and create an alliance with them. And because of those conversations that she's had with people, it's allowing her game to expand. So if you don't go to tribal pre-merge, and they've used that time opportunely. I don't know if that's a word. I might have made that up, to create relationships with people. That's great. If you're not,
Absolutely.
then you're not going to get through to the end of the game well.
And the key word there is relationship.
Yeah.
An alliance is a game. It's just in game. A relationship is much more than that. And you might, like, if at the start of the game you create an alliance with one person, and then the other person, it's not really an alliance, but you're creating a bond and a relationship, you're going to be closer to that person.
100%.
So yeah, I think you don't necessarily need to vote to create that trust there, but it helps. But there are other ways to do it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
All right. So then, we're talking about CK thinks merge is coming. We hear him talk about Max's plan, that he thinks Kate should use her idol to save Ma, being that it is a pre-merge idol. Everyone knows it's a pre-merge idol. It's not going to be useful moving forward. What do we think about that suggestion?
No. What's the point?
For Kate. So you're saying what's the point for Kate?
Yeah, I'm saying what's the point for Kate?
Yeah.
In all honesty. No, don't go, Ethan.
Oh, sorry. Like we see her perspective. She's talking about what she thinks she should do. She's weighing up her options. She says, maybe if I knew Ma was voting out Laurel, I would give Ma the idol, or I don't think you can play it for her, so I'd give her the idol so that she could save herself. But at the same time, why would you basically vote out the biggest threat in the game? And at that point, that would be Kate's move. And then she'd be bumped up in the threat level going into merge. So she just voted out the biggest threat in the game, giving Ma her idol when they weren't even on the same original tribe. That's a huge, bold statement of a move. So it just doesn't make sense to do that.
And the discussion was about, maybe if I play it to save Ma, she then becomes a number for me. I don't think she would. I think she goes back to CK and Max and becomes a number for them. She doesn't become a number for Kate. I think if the situation was reversed, whereas if the yellow tribe were going to tribal and the smaller red tribe, someone had an idol there, then definitely try and save someone to try and bring them across. But Kate's already going into the merge in a position where she's at the bottom of the bigger alliance. Well, that's how I'm seeing it. And if they stick with the new tribes, they're talking about that's what they're going to do. Yeah, being at the bottom of the bigger alliance, bringing someone over who's going to maybe go on top of her in the pecking order. I don't see it being a good move for Kate, and I think it was a good choice to just leave it, let the idol die.
Yeah, for sure. And in her confessional, she talks about, yes, my tribe knows it's pre-merge, but they don't. So do I use that as a threat? It's hard because like the majority of people know that it's pre-merge, but it's can we do something with that post-merge to trick the other three who come back over, particularly? And she says, I feel like Laurel's an easy target in the next round. I don't feel like I need to do it now. I feel like I will have the numbers come the next move. Liz thinks there's absolutely no point using it as a fake. I agree with you, but it's just
there's only 3 people that don't know that it expires.
But when you're running through the options in your head at that point in time, everything's moving so quickly. I was like, is that something we could do? You dismiss it pretty quickly, but it's a thought that runs through your heads. Now, if she had played it, Liz asked us, would it have been Kate's or Max's move?
It'd be Kate's move.
It's something that
her idol, her choice,
came up at like maybe a final tribal. Max could say that it was his idea. He told Kate maybe he could try and claim it, but I think most people would see it as Kate's move.
Yeah. I think that's a fair question as well. Like, is it the person who, say, for example, I convince you, Jules, to make a move or do something? Is it then my move, even though you're the one that actioned it? You did all the work, but I convinced you. It just depends. So in this scenario, it's definitely be considered Kate's move.
We have
there's always layers to that, because like you can get through a game as a puppet master and never have had your hands dirty, but you're like, but they did my bidding and no one ever came for me, and that was always my kind of choice. And that it also like comes down together. Hello. As to who had what idea first. Not often people have the same ideas. They say some people being like, that was my move, even though someone else thought of it 20 minutes ago. But there's always, at this point in time, it would be Kate's move, not Max's, for sure.
Yeah. And we talked about this where with the Annabelle move, did we see that as Laurel's move or as Caitlin's move?
Right.
And again, it's going to come down to if one of them is at the end, how you pitch it.
Yeah. I don't even know if we came to a conclusion, but yeah, I think it would be Laurel's move just because it's such a big decision, and Laurel went into the game wanting chaos and wanting to make big moves. So even though Caitlyn was sort of whispering in her ear, like, I think you should jump on board with us and take out Annabelle and, you know, the rest of your original Yellow tribe, at the end of the day, I think that was a big decision for Laurel. So in that case, I'd say it'd be her move. But
and look, regardless of whether or not it's Caitlyn's moved, it saved herself. So
yeah,
that's good for her.
And she could still claim that at the end, like Dani said. If she gets to the end, I'd definitely claim that.
Oh yeah, because at the end Laurel's not there. She's like, that was fucking me.
I convinced her to flip.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. So
all right. So we get more. CK's out for Laurel's blood. She snaked the alliance. They're out to get her. Number one target, Laurel.
Yep.
And then we go back to Kate umming. She doesn't know Ma. Then we go back to Red.
Yep.
Poor John.
And the sad music.
The sad music. The gods are not shining on the Red tribe. It's all very, very sad. Mara's flatlines. Laurel screwed her over.
She's done.
She was just like
Mara. The way she's talking, she's done. There's nothing.
I did like her. What we saw of her pitching her case to John.
Yes.
Right.
From what she was saying is that she was saying, Laurel is a number for Caitlyn. If you save me, I would be a number for you. And I think that's probably the best approach you could take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because John is very strategic player, very analytical.
Yeah.
If you're going to pitch John, I think that's the way you do it from a logical perspective.
Yeah,
for sure.
100%. Meanwhile, you then see John and Caitlyn just huddled up, like
hugging in their little thermal blankie.
Yeah. They're like, how funny is it that earlier in the day we were begging and pleading to these people, and they like will have none of it, and now they're begging and pleading to us.
Top of the tribe, making the choices. Everyone's coming to them. It was a nice little swing.
I love that.
It's feeling good too. I'd be hugging my alliance and being like, "What are we?"
You see John and Mars conversation, and Mars pleading for her life, and John's just nodding his head, and like, I understand. Like, I'll say something, you know, and then just like really ecstatic, like, I can't believe that this is the situation we're in. And so
it's so funny how like even like obviously they're not happy to go to tribal again, but like how both their moods have just switched from like 2 tribals ago. Like it's just like even in the space of one conversation to another, like they've just gone from being like, it's me next, to being like, no, I can smile.
Who do we want it to be?
Yeah, like who's our choice? Who do we want? I'm gonna sit here and not be sad at all, like Caitlyn last week, who was not sad when everybody else was crying.
Exactly. Sorry, Laurel's made a comment in the chat that I can't go past. Big moves are tax deductible. Claim everything until it's gone.
Until someone says no.
I love that. That is spot on. Claim it. If people don't believe it, they don't believe it, but just claim it as your own.
Absolutely.
You weren't even there for it, claim it.
Yeah.
She'll be like, I was the reason that Dale got voted out.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? You have nothing, like, if you get to the final tribal, at the end, like, you have one opportunity to win the game at that point. Just go out guns blazing if that's sort of like the approach you want to have, or just do as much as you humanly possible. Just try your hardest. So
absolutely. And Ma does that here. She's not aggressive or like pointing fingers. She obviously blames Laurel, and we see her say that several times. And it is Laurel's fault, you know, that she's in this situation. And to see her still go and try to make it work, even though you can see deep down she just doesn't think that that's something that was going to go her way. For her to not give up is all power to her. Yeah. We see John and Caitlyn, you know, basically say they're all in with Laurel because Laurel went all in with them, so they're a tight 3.
Which might be a bad thing going into merge.
Correct. And we see Mark pitch it in a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's a smart pitch, and I think that's something that John and Caitlyn maybe should have considered harder. When you're really thinking strategically about the game, is it better to vote out Laurel and go with Ma into the merge or is it not? So
100%. Yeah,
I'm not really too sure the better option. But I think they're all emotionally all in with Lorel.
At this point, Lorel threw them the lifeline, so they're returning the favor.
They have a bit of loyalty to her.
Yeah, I respect that.
And I think Ma did everything she could to try and save herself. I can't see anything else. Yeah.
Maybe run around looking for an idol. That's what I'd be doing. I'd be like, I'm fucked, so I'm looking everywhere.
John said the other tribe hates Lorel. They would keep Ma. That's exactly right.
But we also know, but from all of Ma's confessionals, Ma was done with yellow. She wanted to work with the red. She was all in with red. It's yes, while she would have been a number for yellow if she'd go back. She didn't want to go back to yellow. She wanted to stick with Ulysses in her voting confessional. She still wants the Lorel to win. She wants someone from red to win. She's all in with reds, regardless of how she feels. Yeah. So yes, I agree. But she was your number. She wasn't yellow's number at that point. Well, of course she didn't seem done with yellow at tribal council because she she knew she was gone. She had to plea and let you know what was going on. You were her only hope because she couldn't get a foot in with the red. They decided they'd already made the choice. Yeah. But we see in previous episodes that she says
you don't know what's going on at the other tribe. There's no point. And I think she even said it here. She said something about, you can't. I think it's when she was pitching to John. That you can't rely on what you think is happening at the other tribe. You can only rely on the information you have now, which is what these people are doing.
Mm.
Yeah. We start tribal council with a fiasco conversation about haves and have-nots.
Hang on, first of all, hang on. What about the muffins? Yeah. The yellow tribe to be there with giant Costco muffins.
Yeah, they look good.
Those muffins are good.
I love that you can eat now.
Yeah, they're just waiting.
The muffins waiting for the go.
Yeah. Can we go now? Can we go?
I know. Oh, and they're so happy. You just get to sit in, watch tribal. You won a long challenge.
Yeah, and you've got a big ass muffin.
I was too full on rice. CK said they've had food. They've probably changed clothes. They've probably changed clothes. I don't know if
Vince, I know what Costco muffins look like. Come on. I've had those muffins. They're giant and flat.
They're big.
They're really big and they're flat and they're Costco and they're delicious.
What flavor were they?
They all had different ones.
Chocolate chip.
I know, but I wonder what flavor they had on the day.
They all had different ones.
Okay.
Oh. Jules is really eyeing off those.
She paused it and went.
I'll pay attention. If there's food there, I'll be paying attention.
There you go.
There you go.
Very. So, yeah, Jules is right.
But the fiasco conversation, haves and have-nots.
Yeah. And the Lorel's what?
What are you talking about? I think we're all on the same page. We're like, what's your question?
It just didn't roll off the tongue. I think the way she intended it to do.
Liz had it up here, but
it was just
didn't spit out the mouth.
Oh, they hated. Did you? Or are you asking? Did you heat them up? We did, or did you?
If you heated them up, that's next level. That is some top quality treatment.
A warm muffin,
in that cold.
In the rain.
Weather. Yeah.
Ooh. Why are you getting to watch other people vote someone out?
No, they weren't. No.
Okay.
A cold muffin, still good.
Still better than no muffin at all.
And no tribal. Oh, great.
Yeah, so that's hilarious. Haves and have-nots. Then Ma throws Lorel to the wolves, basically saying, Lorel doomed me with a capital D.
Yeah.
I love at one point Liz said to Lorel, have you doomed yourself? And all the yellow tribe laughed. Basically saying, yes, you have. Well done.
Yeah. But then the others are very tight-lipped in their answers with Liz because obviously they know will be with them very soon, so they don't give a lot. Ma's very happy to talk and tell everybody what's happening. Whereas
Ma's airing all the dirty laundry.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, as she should.
Yeah.
As she absolutely should.
She said, I'm not going to go down, I'm going down fighting. I'm not going to go down peacefully, basically. Go without, go fighting. That's what I want to see. If like Ma or like Rosie last week, you're going home, go home fighting. Because you never know what you say can convince someone else to save you, especially when the other tribe's watching. That is even more of an opportunity to plead your case and hopefully get someone to help you. So,
so two great points here. So, like I said, they were tight-lipped because they knew CK wanted all the goss. so I decided to give absolutely nothing in their answers.
I like
And then Chloe really liked the footage of the Yellow Tribe. They had like power vibes.
Chloe, your edit has been amazing. I'm loving you.
Yeah, slaying.
I apologize for rating you so lowly.
Yeah, same. I feel very badly for.
I don't apologize for voting anyone anywhere. It's just what I thought of the day. Chloe,
you weren't even there.
So.
All right, and then we say let's talk about Mark continuing the plead with Caitlin and John and making very good points at that point in time. But I think it was just done. I think they were just they'd made that choice. There was no budging, regardless of what Mark
I don't think
said,
you're going to change their mind at Tribal.
No. They were at the top. Why would they give that up at that point in time for anybody? We learned that Caitlin's vote is based on that tomorrow will be better.
I mean, yeah.
Well, if it's sunny, it'll be better. But any other way, it's not going to be better for you, Laurel. Because at this point, public enemy number one. We've heard it from CK. It's your name's basically already written on the parchment. However, it is really fun to watch someone play the game pre-merge and make those tough choices and actually flip on your original alliance, especially Ma and Rosie, the two people who you were really close with.
Yeah, they were those like people.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we see that, like we see the confessional from Ma being like she knew her day was coming. She was just waiting for it to happen. When it happens. We see Morel. Is that your like stage name? That's Ma and Morel. Anyway, Ma votes for Laurel. Even though she
hope you win.
You can still suppose how she can win. She's so gracious in defeat. Yes. I hate it. I hate that she's so gracious in defeat. I'm like, come on.
Well, in Canberra, we didn't see her get defeated, so
no, this is true. This is true. And obviously
she got her revenge.
Ma, Kate does not play her idol for Ma, which we all said we didn't think made sense anyway. And then poor Ma, she goes home. And shortly after she leaves, we are at merge.
And we have blue buffs.
Surprise.
I thought they really popped on the screen. I thought they were great.
It was a nice blue.
So they forgot the idols and stuff, but they didn't forget the buffs. So that's good.
I mean, that's important.
Yeah.
Or else someone had to
Here's
go
a
back.
rock. Here's a rock. This is your idol. Deal with it. I was like, okay, fair enough. So.
But Vince has a good point here. Laurel's social game is strong. Both Rosie and Ma, who she betrayed, wanted her to win, which is credit to that.
I mean, we knew Laurel had a good social game. Like, everybody thought. She's got a very infectious personality, so
yeah,
definitely
knew that would happen.
I think that also just plays to Rosie and Ma's personality. They're both really kind people, so they spent some time. Yeah.
Here's our salty and sweet queen. Hello.
Hey!
Hello. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me and for watching the episode.
Yeah, of course. It's been so interesting because obviously I watched the Canberra season came out first, so we know how you went there, and then like watching it in back order is really interesting. Like,
definitely. It is interesting seeing like the first evolution of me. Yeah,
and you obviously learnt so much. Like, can you talk about the comparison from like one to the other?
I definitely learned maybe two main things from Melbourne. It was that these games had never played an LRG or an org or anything, so the speed of them is, you can be the biggest Survivor fan, which I thought I am, and I watch the show all the time. So I learned from Melbourne that you can't be shy at the start. You gotta hit the ground running, at least confirming alliances. Like in Melbourne, I thought I had like a really good relationship with Rosie, Laurel, and like Max in the Yellow Tribe as well. But I feel like Max and I have even spoken. We never even said the word alliance to each other,
right?
Which is bizarre, yeah. But we just assume we were an alliance.
Okay.
And the second thing I learned was also that you just kind of assume that everybody thinks the same way as you.
Right.
For example, when Laurel was asking me, do you want to flip with me with John, and I said, I don't want to flip on Rosie. I just thought, like, unfortunately you chose like your closest allies, so in a swap. I'm not against flipping, but why didn't you bring CK instead? You know, like
if you're gonna flip, why do you bring people you can flip on?
Yeah. So for me, it was like, oh, I just don't like. I wasn't able to put myself in Laurel's shoes, where she felt like she had not a lot of options with yellow, and that she was there to have fun, like be more chaotic than boring strategic down the line. So yeah, you just learn that not everybody thinks the same way as you, not everybody has the same personality as you, same goals as you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Mara, I just want to say congratulations on winning Canberra. Such a great achievement, and you clearly did things differently the second time you played. But for the first time you played here at Melbourne, you did have a fairly rough experience. I mean, you started out on a winning yellow tribe to then get essentially you weren't tribe fucked. You weren't tribe swap fucked because you were in the majority with the 4 yellow. But you had a really rough experience then proceeding to lose challenges, but they were also really close. How, like, you were clearly really sad. How did that feel throughout the entire day?
I mean, it was 2 years ago, but yeah, of course, I was really, towards the end, the weather was really, really cold. As you can see, my nose is like bright red, and it was just really, unfortunate, because Caitlin said it, like, losing is just so like annoying, and like I'm really competitive. Especially the last challenge, it was our tribe didn't really have a light on our puzzle, and we couldn't see the difference between yellow and green, and I could tell that the other 3 were not really trying that much because they knew they were safe and they just wanted it to end. So it was like up to me to do this challenge by myself. I feel like they were trying, but like John was like, I can't see, I don't have glasses, and it was this. And also like losing Rosie was really sad, because I mean, you guys saw it. It was just like a really emotional thing that, I feel like, well, my biggest mistake was like, not wanting to compromise my relationship with Rosie. And then I ended up having to vote for her. So it was just like, this sucks. And then thinking that, like, I was like, oh, I wish just Sika could go to tribal one time and just see what that's like. And it was tough, of course. And that, getting voted out like right before the merge, and like I knew it. I'm like, I'm a fan. I know how logically, if I was running a game, I know, I'm counting down. And I knew as soon as Annabelle left, I was like, if we don't win at least one challenge, I'm not making the merge. Yeah. It was tough. It was tough, but I mean, it was tough on the day, and then I didn't. Now that it's like 2 years on, I've like all these positive things have come out of it, and I made so many friends. Like through this, I think it was Brady who even mentioned to me that camera was the thing, the first, and now like my life has changed a lot. 2 years ago, and so it was and in the moment, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a really big fan, and and I wish I got to play a bit more with John, who I had a really good relationship with.
John actually said in the chat, Dani, the third most recent message, that he was really trying in that final pre-merge challenge, and he would have loved for the 4 of you to go into merge together.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying they weren't trying. It's just, and I also felt it. Like I just had more incentive. It was like, I can't even describe to you how cold and tired we were. At one point, Rosie and I had actually like stopped strategizing and just made lenses because we thought Caitlin was gonna pass out. Like, so it was real, because John and Caitlin really didn't eat anything. And like it was really tough, and it was just the conditions.
We're gonna cycle every 45 minutes.
It was just
time to eat.
Exactly. So no, I'm not saying I didn't try. Just saying maybe I had more. I feel like I was the one who really had to win. Like it was up to me. Looking at CK, and I kept telling. I think CK was the other person who was like kind of guiding the other tribe, and I kept telling him like what's the plan here? You did say you were gonna throw it, and like what's kind of like what's your plan moving forward? Like we'll see, because like I said, you don't know what's going on in the other tribe. For all I know, like CK is really tied with Kate and Tash now, and he doesn't even need my number. So, but you know, at that point that was like, and because I did have a good relationship with Max and, you know, Brady to an extent, I was also like trying to tell Max, throw the puzzle or throw
something, please.
Yeah, but I don't blame them. I mean, I don't know. It's scary, like you said, throwing a puzzle before merge. Yeah.
If you had gone to merge with that group of 4 from Red, what do you think you would have done after merge? Would you think you would have stayed in that group, or you would have flipped back to yellow?
I think it's really hard to say. I think I was really in with John at that point. I mean, I just adore Laurel so much, and and I know that she flipped. I would have, you know, like kept an eye on her and Caitlyn, and I just knew Caitlyn was the kind of person who, I mean, you see, she's just naturally good at Survivor. She's someone that I was like, this is not someone I can go to the end with. And I could tell that she was kind of there just more to create chaos. At one point, she was like really keen to go to Rocks. I was like, I need someone like John. So I think I was really in with John, and I would have had to touch base with, honestly, the people I wanted to connect with on the other side were Brady and Max. See like what was going on there. I don't know, like I think maybe I'm misremembering. Like right now, I'm thinking here I would have definitely stuck with John 100%. So that's what I think I would have done.
CK wants to know, what if they saved you with the idol? What would you have done then if they saved you with the idol? I don't think they should, you know, like it wasn't so black and white. Had I been Annabelle, who had a really tight alliance with them, maybe yes. Like for me, like honestly, I was gonna definitely play the middle at that point because I had really good relationships now with with John and like by extent Caitlyn. So like I would have had to wait to see what the other like floaters in the game wanted to do, like what are Kate and Tash and Dale thinking, like what does Chloe want to do? And yeah, well, for sure. I mean, we see that in your previous, like what we talked about before, is it like, you know, you like the Red tribe, that was the tribe you wanted to be with, like that was like, and if you had gotten to merge, they were your people. So it would have been interesting had there been an idol save and you went there, like that predicament would have been super interesting to play out.
Yeah, I know. I did think of that. It's so funny because honestly, it's when you're so you have so much adrenaline, you sometimes can't think clearly. I remember like right after I got voted out, I'll have to give a shout out to the 2 Brendans in crew who like kind of looked after me, and they let me use her shower. And I was like, I remember being in the shower thinking like, oh my god, like I forgot that the other tribe was there. I kind of had a really strong feeling that Brady had an idol. Mm-hmm. So I think in the shower I thought, oh, I should have like direct my asked Brady directly, you know. But honestly, I didn't even think about it. And like for example, Ethan, you were saying that I should have looked for an idol right before tribal, and like this is more like the limitations with LRGs. It's like especially that late at night, we were not able to go back to our camp. We were just at the place where the challenge was, and we only had 1 crew member. So shout out to Vince, who was the only person who stayed back to film us. Poor Vince, he was a superstar, and it was kind of obvious that this is not a planned part of the game, and it was very obvious that there was gonna be no idol because this is a very ad hoc kind of camp. Which I do think is not a criticism. It's just I do think this is like an example of why it's really helpful to have the players who play the previous season involved with like the production of the next season or another LRG, because as when we planned the next season of Melbourne, I was involved in that, and I do want to make sure that at every round, even if we had to improvise, at least the players had a sense of like, this is planned. There's always an idol available, because you need to give people the space to be creative, I think, with their gameplay. So it's more like this is like why it's really cool to have people who played before. You know, we had like Max and Brady doing the challenges for the next season. I'm sure they learned a lot, and yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so awesome because, I mean, I've only been introduced to the LRG last season, but from my personal experience, as you said, the people who have played and the people who have crewed are really, they really love doing it. So everyone wants to get involved, and that's what makes it awesome. So to hear you talk about how you're thoroughly planning for future LRGs and for season 4 that was just played last year with Dani and Jules.
That's okay. Everybody's surprise.
Yeah, you're right, Ma. Like,
I mean, the two people watching here
that.
were probably there on the day. That's fine.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, I was just talking and I was.
Yeah.
I apologize. I did
That's
not.
Okay. I don't believe in cast reveals anyway.
Yeah.
Just tell us.
Exactly.
Thank you for backing me up.
I promise he knows nothing about what happened because he can't keep his mouth shut.
No, but I do think like one thing that you learn is that you also like have this extra layer of empathy, and it's something that, you know, Annabelle and I, we were kind of involved in looking after the contestants in season 4 a lot, and we spoke a lot that one of the things we really wanted to maybe like really focus on season 4, for example, was what happened to people after they get voted out. For me, I got voted out really late. It had gone over time. Everybody was having dinner. There was no one, like, you know, again, like I said, I had some really kind people in the Brendan Pratt and Brendan Hopkins on Hopper that they kind of like took me under the wing, and they, you know, let me use their shower and stuff. So I remember thinking, like, when we were planning season 4, like, it would be really good if there was someone whose job is to, you know, listen to the people who get voted out, or just offer them a shower or some lunch, some, you want to call your family, like, because it is like, you think it's like, it's just like a weekend away, and especially people like me who are super fans and who, like, you know, we have a lot of, like, we're emotionally invested, or it's tough because it is always a form of rejection. Only one person wins, everybody else will have some sort of like trauma. Even look, as a winner, you also have trauma there.
Of course.
So I think it was like a really interesting experience, because I remember it was like a positive experience. It just, I remember I did need some time to like process it and heal. And you know, this is why, like, when I was kind of like, every time I talk to someone who's about to play one of these, like, I tell them, like, it's really hard, but you really should separate the result
yes, from
your sense of like intelligence or your sense of worthiness. Or for me, it was really hard because I was, you know, salty, but no, I wasn't angry at Laurel or Caitlin, or like, it was more like I was I just felt like, oh my god, I'm like this super fan, and I just go over that, I'm like the dumbest person. And I'm like, well, not really. Like, yeah, like, you learn that there's a lot of luck involved, and then, yeah, like,
and you can run the what ifs and the different scenarios through your head 100 different ways,
and you'll drive yourself crazy.
What if I didn't get picked at the tribe swap, and then I stay with my original tribe? What would we have done? What happens if I run like and things that just would never have ever happened, but you run that scenario in your head, and then you talk to other people after the game, and you run these scenarios again with them and what they would think.
Yeah, and look, and I will say, like, I don't know if there's any like consolation, because obviously when you don't win, you think of like every single like thing you could have done differently. Like, we should have voted Caitlin instead of Ash because Ash was in a thread. I should have talked to Brady for the idol. I should have whatever. But honestly, even having won one of these, like, even as a winner, there's things that you go back and you're like, oh my god, I should have, even if you win. So it's like, it's normal. I had to learn not to dwell on it, and like, it's really hard. But honestly, like, I think and this is for everyone who's trying to like organize one of these like LRGs in the past. I think it's really important to take into account that, like, it's really real for people, like the feelings are real, and I think having some support there for people as they get eliminated is really important. So
Yeah,
I think it's getting better and better every time. Like I was, I helped out with the next season of Canberra last year as well, and it was better then, and everything always gets better.
That's the thing. I think Vince said, like, someone back here was a comment, and it was like, LRGs is just building on everyone's experience and making it better each time. And if you have the passion and the drive to be a part of that, why the fuck not?
Definitely, like Vince, like he knows it from first-hand experience. He was part of very season 2, very early on, and I'm sure he completely, him and Josh came on board and made season 3 even better, and
absolutely. And I think Brady said it earlier in the comments that it's a really bonding experience for the players as well. So not only do you build relationships within the game, but I guess shared trauma or shared experience after the game really allows for great friendships and great relationships, which is another added reason of why for almost everyone involved, it is a really positive experience. So I think it's really great that you're trying to support people after the game, because that's something that hasn't been talked about, or I haven't even thought of that. And I think that's really, I think that's a great thing.
Yeah, I think it's very important. I think I was the only person, maybe Marina as well, who didn't stay for the second day. I just wanted to see my family at that point. I just felt like I didn't feel like sleeping on the floor. I was very cold. So I do think Rosie and Annabelle were there, and they were definitely really lovely and helpful. But sometimes you need to. Some people react differently. Some people need space. It was but now, of course, and Brady's right. You do bond. Even I just came home from doing trivia with Tash, who I never met in the game, and now she's one of my closest friends from this experience. So that's, and for me that's okay, I didn't win, but you win 100%. So much more for sure. You just 100%. Win community, I suppose.
Annabelle said the same thing when she left. It's changed her life, from the people that she's met. She's obviously involved in season 4, there's it's such a weird thing, it's such a weird concept, and I've talked about this with Sydney. Sydney came across my Facebook feed as something to apply for. I'd never heard of LRGs before in my life. I had no idea what it was involved, and I was like, that sounds like fun. It's a super fan, how cool. And now I was I've played twice. I'm doing a fucking podcast about it. It's just and the people that I've met and the friendships I've made have just been life-changing. So it is. It's a real thing, and it's crazy that I can't even fathom the closeness of actual Survivor players being together for however many days. Marooned somewhere. For the closest that I feel with people after 1 or 2 or 3 days.
That's right, and I think that's why I would encourage anyone to especially women, to apply.
Yes.
It's a safe environment. It is community. There is. It is, pretty balanced, I'd say. And, Canberra is casting right now. So if anyone's interested, make sure you submit your application.
Brisbane and Canberra are both casting right now.
And Brisbane, and Brisbane. So, East Coast Survivor is so.
Exactly, are ramping up, that's for sure.
And do it. And look, I applied for Canberra because I think it was Brady, the first person who made me aware of it. I think he asked me if I was applying, and then I talked to a few people from this season actually, and they were thinking about it, and so I played one. It doesn't mean I couldn't go out and have a second go, and lucky for me, it worked out in the second time. And
absolutely.
So basically, Melbourne was just you pre-gaming for Canberra.
Yeah, it was your test run.
It was. And me and John.
I haven't watched Canberra. I'll be honest. I wanted to watch this season first because it filmed first. So I don't know how tight you and John were in that, but
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
it's the
Well,
best
yeah,
in
watch
cricket.
it. It's interesting. It's
Oh, I
very
will. Yeah, like I said, I'm completely spoiled, so
Yeah.
wasn't really a good idea.
Yeah.
Will you play again?
No, I'm retired.
What?
Yeah, they ask me that all the time. No, I think I honestly have a better time filming it and organizing and seeing it play out. It's more fun for me. It is. I love playing Survivor. I would, but now that I have one camera, it's kind of like I have nothing else.
How do you get?
You come in with a
I don't
target.
think, like I am Latina, but I don't have like the Sandra factor. I don't think I could win again. And
Oh,
I
come
don't think.
on.
Yeah, I would only play if I thought I had a chance to win, and I don't think unless it was all winners or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, like, Winners at War. Would you come back for Winners at War?
Yeah, the Winners at War. I mean, if someone organizes that, definitely. But
Yeah.
no, I would never play a game of Survivor. Like that's why I really now don't play like minis or anything, just because I don't play if I don't think I can win. I'm just that competitive. Yeah.
I agree.
Fair,
If you're not
yeah.
playing to win, why are you playing?
Yeah.
100%.
And I feel that way about Uno and every other game.
Yeah. But remember, not everybody thinks the same, and that's what
Yeah.
I learned from Melbourne. And people play for different things, and in camera, I think that came really handy because, it made me really realize, okay, this person's gonna react better to this kind of pitch, and this person's gonna react better to this kind of pitch.
I love this.
That's right. Yes, me and John are iconic at this point. Yeah,
You absolutely are iconic.
Ma, there's been like lots of floating around questions and thoughts and people just putting things out there. It sounds like now that you've sort of done everything and achieved everything that you wanted to within this space, would you be willing to potentially host your own game of returning players from different orgs? That's something that we all talk about. Like all the players, a lot of players want to play again, including myself. And for the majority of players, the only time that you get the chance in such a small community with seasons taking 1 to 2 years is for someone else, a third party, to come along and create another game. So is that something that you'd be interested in doing?
I would never ever host it, no. But I think I'm better behind the scenes. I mean, Jules and Dani know I'm really bossy and really good behind the scenes.
No.
I become a tyrant.
You didn't tell me off for anything ever.
I think we would just
have bought a crew than to cast. It was
Annabelle is like, I mean, Annabelle is gonna be a TV star pretty soon. So yeah, she's gonna be in The Traitors. So I think we need someone with more charisma. I'm a video editor. I'm behind the camera. I'm not. So I would not host it, but like twist my arm and I might organize it.
We're coming. We're twisting.
Awesome. That's good to hear. But
Island of the Idols. You go over to the island and there's bar there.
Yeah. I would love to. That I honestly think is such a good idea. I would just have to binge watch Backyard, and I can't wait to watch Sydney. I'll have to. I'm about to finish Brisbane as well, so I would just have to do a little bit of binge watching, and so I can really.
Yeah, I need to catch up on all the LRGs at the moment.
You guys can tell me who's the creme de la creme each season. Ethan.
No spoilers.
Right, wrong way. This way.
We're doing the
regarding Melbourne, Ma, did you have a strategy going into the game?
Yes, I think my strategy was, honestly, like everything I knew about Survivor, I knew from the TV show. So my strategy was like really not to hit the ground running. It was like seeing who I vibe with and then go for it. I also did want to play with people who kind of were very like giddy to strategize and have fun. So which is why I think I really gravitated towards Laurel and Rosie and like Annabelle as well. Like I really like those three in my tribe. Someone like, for example, like Chloe at the start was really shy. I think she only came out of her shell the first night. But yeah, my strategy was honestly, it was the same with camera. I just was like, assess who you connect with naturally, and then assess and then think like, can the gameplay, does the gameplay align? And I think with Rosie, I was very much aligned. With L'Oreal, I thought I just didn't, I was able to read her like chaos brand. Yeah. Yeah, like honestly, like you can come with 50,000 strategies and never implement them.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you've never kind of played an LRG before, you don't realize how quick it is.
Well, I also thought I was gonna be honestly like the oldest person there, because I watched season 2 and I think Vince was the oldest person, or like someone like that, and everybody else seemed really young, and I was 28 at the time, and I thought, oh my god, I'm gonna be the oldest one there.
And that makes you elderly.
Yeah, so I thought I can run around a bunch of 21-year-olds, no problem.
Yeah.
But then I got to my tribe, and my tribe, you know, Rosie was older than me, like Annabelle and I pretty much the same age, and then CK was older, Brady, like shocked. That was honestly, okay, can we just talk about how the first night Brady tells us not only is he 30 years old, but he has 2 children. We were like, Rosie and I were like, okay, like what?
Hang on, are you saying that's old?
No, but
very old.
When we met Brady, I thought he was like a 22.
I was 34, jeez.
No, I just thought Brady was really young. I thought Brady was about...
He does have a young face.
Early 20s, and I was very shocked that he had a 12-year-old boy. I also, I don't know, I think, and this is the biggest difference, I think, between Canberra and Melbourne is like that initial day, the Friday, where you just, you know, play the reward and you camp out. Because had we said gone to tribal, I think Brady was so in his shell and he wasn't really clicking with everybody else. But at night around the campfire, he was telling us about him being a scout and meeting his wife and his children. And I knew from then, the next morning, Rosie and I were like, I don't really want to like go against Brady, you know? Like I was like, we like Brady more than we like we really like Brady. Now I don't know, because at that point, you know, we really did like everyone, but you know, we were like, I don't know why everybody's just ostracizing Brady and Chloe.
Yeah, but you do see that in the edit, like you see like everyone's like Brady's first boot, and then like overnight it's like no, we love Brady, protect Brady.
Honestly, and that's where luck comes to play, because it's the luck of what kind of game you play. I do think, I don't know if Brady would have been the first one voted out, but maybe had we gone to tribal immediately, just based on first impressions, like,
yeah, absolutely. And that just goes to show what, I guess, just being open and vulnerable does. I mean, Brady told you about his kids, about his life, you know, about him being a scout. And when you open up to people, if you want to, which if you're playing the game, you should, it allows that vulnerability for people to be attracted to and create friendships and relationships. And then the morning, you're like, you know what, I don't want to vote out Brady. And it's because you like him. So being likable and opening up is a good strategy.
Yeah, honestly, just being yourself, because someone like Scott, I think we saw just the fact that he was hiding what he does for a living, and how much of a fan of Survivor he is. He wasn't able to bond with people with, you know, who he really was. I feel like Brady had no hesitation to really show us who he was, and I think it really helped. And also I would say the first night also is really helpful, because like you've heard it like 1,000 times, they say like you should watch where people sleep, and that will tell you the alliance. Our tribe, it was like perfectly sorted by alliance. Like Brady and Chloe were on one side, and then Max and CK were on the other side, and then in the middle was Rosie, L'Oreal, and I. With Annabelle chose to kind of sleep across the bottom, which is like a really good metaphor of where she was.
Yeah.
Like the guys, and then with me and L'Oreal and Rosie. So I did like go to sleep thinking like, oh, this is like exactly, if anyone's paying attention, this is exactly the structure of the tribe.
Yeah, and I really like I'm really enjoying the 2-day games where you get the opportunity to build relationships, even though the second day is really fast, action-packed gameplay of strategy, tribal, and challenge. Having that first night really allows for those things to happen, which makes for a more interesting game.
Yeah. I think 3 days is if you can get it. I mean, it's hard to ask people to take a day off work, and it's a lot. It's all the cruise volunteers. It is tough, I will say, but I do think if I was to say the 3-day game is like the perfect amount of time for an LRG.
Nah, give us a week.
It's a week.
I don't have the patience for a week. Sorry.
Even CK said I'd take a week off to play again. Absolutely.
I'd take a whole month.
Yeah,
Whatever you
cover
want.
my salary.
Give me 55 days. I'll do it. I'm going.
Yeah.
Right. If CK covers my salary, I'll organize a week.
There you go. Brady's saying Easter weekend. Some of us are shift workers who have to work public holidays. All right. I'll still come.
Easter weekend's a family weekend.
Yeah.
Survivor, we'll save that for another time. But it's a good idea. Sorry, I love Survivor, but come on, Easter weekend, gotta spend it with the fam if possible.
I'd go.
I don't care. Okay, well, fair enough. Look, Easter will come around next year, so it's fine. Is there anything that we didn't see? I'm sure there's a few things, but is there anything in the first 6 episodes that we didn't see from you, Ma?
No, I think everything was shown. I mean, there was one again why like the Friday we had so much free time, and I was really trying to bond with Brady, honestly, and like Brady, Rosie, and I climbed this tree, which I could tell the production was freaking out because we were trying to get a rope. So I climbed the tree, and then Rosie, who's like a gymnast, climbed on like the most perilous like little branch, and Brady and I were like just underneath her trying to like catch her. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't know. The things you didn't see is that all like the friendships we've done. Like even a person like Dale, who I never played with, we even played dodgeball at some point together. So like
fun.
Yeah, so I think everything. There was no like nothing. I was like, oh, they didn't show this or they didn't show that because
Brady. Brady said Ma actually saw me find an idol.
Yeah, I did, and I honestly. But I didn't even think about asking for the idol until again I was in the shower. Like,
so you knew he had the idol.
Well, I saw him when he found the flint. I did see him like take the idol and put in his pocket, and then I was gonna ask. I was just so scared. Honestly, I was like, didn't want to be the first one voted out, and I was like, if Brady tells people that I'm saying he has an idol, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's okay. I think he's done a really good job keeping it like secret. So we'll see how that plays out in the match. It's the only idol I think that is out there at this point.
Pretty sure.
That's what I was going to touch on before, because now we're at merge, so we're going in. All the rock idol's gone because that was pre-merge.
Yeah,
Kate's idol's dead.
Kate's idol's dead.
Dale's idol's gone.
I already played his. So it's only Brady's idol that's still standing.
Yeah. We'll see what Brady does with it.
Yeah, hopefully. I would love to see.
Definitely watch the next episode. I would say that's the one episode that I helped put together.
Okay, we'll definitely watch that one.
Makes sense. And
I wasn't sure if I would, but now I will.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks. Like it's only my everyday job, like to put videos together. But definitely watch it, and I think watch the whole season. Like I think this cast is like.
We've been saying that every week. This is such a good cast.
Where we think this cast.
I mean, the best people have left already, but there's still some good ones.
Yeah, everyone's a character. Everyone's here to play. We absolutely love and adore everyone, and it's such a competitive cast. That's what makes these LRGs so interesting. Are people who want to play the game. So we are so excited for merge.
Yeah.
We're sad that Red went on an awful loss streak, but we're excited for some chaos, as Laurel would say.
She's ready. She's ready and waiting.
Yeah.
All right, Ma, stick around, chat to us. But thank you, everybody, so much for joining us again. We are an hour and a half in. Thank you so much for chatting, all your comments. We so appreciate you every week. It makes this so much more fun. We could talk underwater, the three of us, but having you guys here to help us do it is fantastic. As we said at the beginning and just then, if you do want to play, you want to play again, Canberra and Brisbane are now casting. Sydney airs this Sunday on YouTube at 7:30. Come and see Ethan and I play our very first LRGs. And we obviously, Melbourne first merge episode, we'll be back this Saturday, roughly 2 p.m. And we will see you guys back here next Tuesday.
Yeah. Thanks for joining, guys, as always.